Greetings, Dr. Joseph Martin. Happy Earth Day to everybody. This topic is regeneration and recreation of our one unified global civilization. Now, to do that is going to require a revolution, and we say in the Sanskrit terminology, a mahakranti, a great turning, a tipping point towards being spiritual beings, being moral, upright, righteous beings, and that's the requirement for having a peaceful global civilization. It starts within every individual's heart, all 7 billion of us from the inside out, to know that we are divine beings and to be the light we are and to be the kindness and peace that we are. Now, this is going to require a lot of moral consideration on a one-to-one and an individual basis. The definition of civilization is this: a stage of human development and organization that is considered or deemed to be advanced. Considered or deemed to be advanced. Now, this definition of civilization came to be in the last 400 or 500 years with the beginning of the empires of Europe and the dispersal around the world towards conquering the indigenous peoples of the planet. And at that point, it was considered that all these First Nations peoples and other African groups and tribes were savages. They're barbarous, and they were objects that could be taken into slavery and mistreated and killed. Now, the notion that a civilized nation, such as any of the European nations of the 16th, 17th, 1800s, were civilized and yet treat other people and ethnic cultures as objects suggests that they themselves were not civilized. The meaning of the word civilization comes from the word civil, or being kind or being respectful. And to civilize yourself means to be refined and to be honoring all other beings. So when Gandhi was asked what he thought of Western civilization, wasn't it a good idea? He said, yes, it would be a good idea, and I hope it comes to pass at some point in the future, because it's not happening now. That was his summation of bringing down the British Empire, who treated all the peons of the Hindu peoples and the Buddhist peoples as objects. Which leads us to the wonderful 20th century theologians such as Reinhold Niebuhr and Martin Buber, and his great estimation, this is Buber here, that most people are in a state of looking at other people as objects, what he calls the I-it perception within people's individual notions and also within cultures such as the Western nations of the 20th century. And when you see someone else as an object, then that means that you can kill them and there's no reprehensible notion of murdering people who are considered to be separate, other, and just simply objects that are in your way. He then said the only way that we will create a moral society in the future is if we have an I-thou relationship with other people, where we see that they are unique sparks of light or creations of the source or God or creator on their own terms, although they may have a different skin color, a different religion, and a different culture and cultural values and worldview and ethos, they are still to be considered in the right way, the proper way, the more truthful way, as being creations of the one creator of all that is as well. This is the one moral standard and spiritual truth that needs to be consciously embodied, embedded within everyone's heart and consciousness, and all the other negative, judgmental, racist, prejudicial filters in people's minds and around their hearts and feelings dissolved so that they can see everyone else as a unique human being, and other cultures and people of other values and religions as, in fact, the same or the same worthiness as they themselves or we ourselves. This is very important. Now, I think many people are very pessimistic about this, the pragmatic people of the world, and even the idealists who've been working at this for quite a few centuries may find that pessimism is rampant as well. However, I think we can look back at the 20th century, and as we're now in the beginning of the 21st century, we can see that through the First World War, the Second World War, the Korean Vietnamese War, and the Iraqi wars, and so on, that people are feeling a little different. There's a collective moral emancipation or awakening or a moral revolution in the consciousness of peoples of all faiths and backgrounds worldwide, young and old. For instance, no longer is it acceptable, as it was about 100 years or so, to string people up, to have the Ku Klux Klan, and to murder people and so on, and even take physical body parts as trophies and put them in your home or your office. This was happening 100 years ago in America. And now, when we have wars on the planet, we find it individuals of all backgrounds and faiths reprehensible, morally reprehensible, that in fact it's not acceptable to have collateral damage in bombings in other countries where civilians and children are killed through bombs in wars. And perhaps most significantly, it's morally repugnant that homosexuals around the world are considered to be inhuman. I think the fact that there is LGBT or lesbian, gay, bisexual, transvestite liberation worldwide, and it's coming into more nations and cultures and religions worldwide, is a sign that we can see every individual as a human being with a sacred right to live and to be exactly who they are. So there may be some sense for some optimism in terms of the evolution of consciousness within individuals, spiritual, moral, ethical consciousness, and within certain groups and cultures and nations worldwide now. And that's the source of all hope that we have. We need to have hope that we can turn this around, and the tipping point will point in the favor of truth, goodness, beauty, and love and support, and that we can actually develop once and for all, after thousands of years, an equitable, uh, non judgmental, caring, compassionate, loving, pragmatically supportive, communal, universal civilization on the planet. And of course, we all have to work towards that. Every one of us is important to make this a glowing reality. Well, now, how can this be done? First of all, individually, we have to become righteous, loving, kind, respectful individuals, and that may require taking off some filters in our minds, of being open to people, surrendering to being open to experiencing other people as unique beings, and being defenseless in the sense of not being reactive with our egos, but listening very attentively to the differences that we have with other peoples and cultures and individuals, and understanding the adventure and the excitement about how beautiful it is to share and celebrate our differences, and within that, knowing our uniqueness, that we're all divine human beings here on this one planet, our Mother Earth. So happy Earth Day again to us all here, because we're all native to the earth and we're all one family, surviving and hopefully going to be thriving here on our one Earth Mother. And we're all sisters and brothers of the one Earth Mother, aren't we? Secondly, you can choose to be heroic, a hero in your own life, and you need to be, in fact. It's essential for your well-being and your personal growth and evolution and development. And as you become a hero in your own life and take everything you do sincerely, and you develop willpower, indomitable willpower, and keep working with patience and diligence on your hopes and your dreams and your goals, and every day do something towards living your goals and making them true and active and real for yourself with your family and friends and community. You are a leader, you are a visionary, and you need to feel and see and sense yourself and act in that way with words and deeds. Thirdly, you can co-create a sacred, trusting local community for yourself where services and products as well as your skill sets and your activities are shared and mutually supportive. The definition, the etymology of the word community means from the Latin with oneness. And of course, that's what we're all working towards. A oneness, a sense of oneness, purpose, working together, mutually supportive, that we're all cells in one great earth body, human community, sisters and brothers of one mother and father. Fourthly, to then inspire yourself and your local friends and others worldwide by educating and doing charitable work, building schools and libraries and hospitals worldwide, and getting to know one another through the World Wide Web and supporting each other in this global process that we're all engaged upon. And fifthly, perhaps most importantly, is to learn a deep process of daily and evening meditation whereby you are always in contact consciously and experiencing fully and kinesthetically and visually your purposeful connection to the source. And in this place, you will find a deepening joy, a deepening truth, an intuitive knowing of who you are, and the oneness of all human beings on the earth. And this is the way we can regenerate, recalibrate ourselves. We can recreate ourselves as good, purposeful, meaningful, loving, kind, respectful human beings and bring about the celebration for the civilization that we are all co-creating and co-participating in. So all love and blessings to you, Dr. Joseph Martin. Take good care of yourselves.